Hello, my name is Blossums and welcome to another Genshin Impact build video, and today we're going to be going over Kokomi and her brand new ocean-hued clam set. Now, I've previously gone over the set and my initial thoughts on it in a couple videos ago. If you want to check that out, it'll be on the channel, but today we're focusing in more on Kokomi, how it applies to her, as it is a set that is basically tailor-made for her, as well as talking about some specifics about the set that you may or may not have known, just adding on some additional info that could be helpful for some of your other healers. Now, if there's any other healers you want me to do a build video on with the ocean-hued clam set, as it's a pretty interesting set, then let me know in the comment section below, as I would love to try those out myself. But without further ado, let's go ahead and show off the build. First of all, Kokomi is one of the best healers in the game and a fantastic hydro applier. She gets a bad rap for not really dealing that much damage, but she does enable a lot of other units and has very strong utility. And now with the recent addition of the ocean-hued clam set, a lot of her damage problems have been alleviated. So before we get into the artifacts, let's talk about her kit just a little bit. Her normal attacks aren't really anything special, they're quite normal in fact, dealing hydro damage. And then her E-skill here, you summon the Bakekurage, which is a little jellyfish, and that intermittently deals hydro damage applying wet and heals the on-field character at the time and scales off of her max HP. She also has an elemental burst here that cloaks her in the ceremonial garment, increasing her normal charged and Bakekurage damage by her max HP, and also allows her to heal the entire party whenever her normal and charge attacks connect. This also increases her resistance to interruption and allows her to walk on the water's surface, which is pretty fun. And all of this scales off of her max HP as well, which is pretty sweet. With an energy cost of 70, it's not too bad. A cooldown of 18 seconds, which isn't too bad, but a duration of 10 seconds. I do wish it was a little bit longer, but it's not too bad either. She also has some pretty interesting passives, this one refreshing the duration of Bakekurage whenever Elemental Burst is cast, which is pretty darn sweet. She also has Song of the Pearls, which allows her damage to be further increased based off of 15% of her healing bonus, which is pretty cool. And then she also has the very unique aspect to her, to where she gets 25% free healing bonus, but 100% decrease in crit rate, which she's also infamous for, and is pretty cool. And I really do like the way they structured her kit, especially now that it's been alleviated a little bit with this most recent set. Right, I've already spoiled that we're going to be using the ocean-hued clam set. However, it's not the only thing you have to use. This is going to be the best in-slot Kokomi artifact set, especially if you want to deal damage with your Kokomi. However, if you just want her to be a pure support, the Tenacity of the Millith is still a fantastic option. Getting that 20% attack buff to your teammates is still very, very good, especially if you're not interested in dealing damage with your Kokomi. This is going to be a very good set for you. The Heart of Depth is no longer very good on her, just because the actual ocean-hued clam will outpace it significantly now, just because this extra damage number you get from it is going to be so insane. But what damage number am I talking about? I keep mentioning the ocean-hued clam set, but I haven't explained how it works. So we'll briefly go over that. The two-piece here is the healing bonus increase of 15%, which is going to be good because, of course, your healing is going to be more, and also your damage is going to be more because her damage does scale off of healing bonus in her elemental burst. Now, what about the four-piece here? What is this extremely long and complicated paragraph? You can read the paragraph if you want, but I am just going to make it very simple for you. Basically, the way it works is whenever you heal, whether or not you are at 100% or not, if your character would have been healed otherwise, that number is going to be added to a counter. And then at one point or another, whenever this counter's duration goes, it's going to deal the accumulated healing as damage. However, this accumulated healing only stacks up to 30,000, and the damage released only is released as 90% of the accumulated number. So basically, you're only going to be releasing a maximum damage of like 26 or 27,000 or something like that. However, there are ways to make that number bigger, because for some reason this number does scale off of physical shred. So like if you shred the opponent with like a Zhongli shield or like superconduct, that it will deal more damage than it usually does, and you can actually get it past the 30,000 mark at that point. But basically that is what you're going to be dealing with most of the time. It cannot crit, and it does not scale off of physical damage, so those are very important things to know. It only scales off of physical resistance shred, like a Zhongli hold shield or like a superconduct or any other physical resistance shred that you can think of. It will deal more damage based off that, but it will not deal increased damage if you have like a physical damage bonus goblet or anything. It is not going to help you there. Now for the main stats on this artifact set, you're going to be wanting HP percent, hydro damage bonus, and healing bonus. You can use some alternatives though that will work for you. Of course, you could go full HP if you want. You could even go like HP, and healing bonus if you want. Those are all going to be fine, but if you want to deal the most damage and be the most efficient at healing and damage, then the HP percent, Hydro damage bonus, and healing bonus circlet are going to be the way to go. However, I know this is still a new set, so if you're just accumulating them and you can't get your hands on like a healing bonus circlet or something, and you got an HP one, then go ahead and use that until you can get a healing bonus circlet, as that'll be just fine as a placement holder. But for the most part, you are going to want to get to this point of HP percent, Hydro damage bonus, and healing bonus. As for the substats, you are going to be chasing attack percent, HP percentage, energy recharge, and then as an optional fourth to chase, just elemental mastery. But mainly you're going to want attack percent, HP percent, and energy recharge to make sure you are dealing as much damage and healing as possible, and also the consistency buff from the energy recharge is going to be huge to make sure that you're getting that regularly as well. And you don't need to hit any extreme number with your energy recharge to make sure you're having it regularly, but just know that you are going to want some of those substats. Of course, you're not going to need crit rate or crit damage because she doesn't crit unless you have some kind of wacky build on her, but she doesn't crit for most of us that are going to be building her, so you don't need that at all. And those pieces are actually kind of trash for her if you have like crit rate or crit damage. But also don't be afraid to use a piece with crit rate like I am here. I have a crit rate here, I have crit damage here, but the other substats are still fantastic, so I still use it on her, and that's a-okay. Now, as for the pieces I'm using, I'll go ahead and briefly go over each one so you know what I'm using for this build, and then we'll move on to weapons. All right, here comes the interesting part. Now we're going to be talking about some of the interesting parts about ocean-hued clam, because the way ocean-hued clam is worded and the way it works is that anytime that character heals somebody on the party, or whether themselves or somebody else, so believe it or not, things like Prototype Amber actually work with the ocean-hued clam set. If you only heal yourself with the Prototype Amber or another party member or something, you proc this passive that regenerates some HP, it will proc the set bonus of the ocean-hued clam and start that bubble. It's actually very interesting, and this also works with other things like the black sword and other weapons that will heal you. So that's pretty darn cool. So Prototype Amber definitely got a stonks increase for me, and what is likely what you're going to be using on Kokomi anyway, because the HP percent is just fantastic for her, and it also helps you with some of your energy regen problems and heals the entire team for a little while as well. It's a fantastic free-to-play option for her, and the fact that you can refine it to make it even better is really cool. Also, the fact that it just goes with the ocean-hued clam set and allows you to stack even more damage and just helps you facilitate that a lot easier is very, very cool. In fact, I wouldn't recommend really any other 4-star other than the Prototype Amber for your Kokomi. You could go Hakushin Ring if you are going for a Electro Charge comp. This is actually a very good option for that, as it buffs the damage of pretty much everybody on the team, and it's very, very cool. However, if you are just going for a more traditional and more flexible Kokomi, the Prototype Amber is going to be the move. Of course, her signature weapon is going to be, the best for her, and a 5-star, of course, is going to be really good on her. It's going to give you that big base attack. It's going to give you some extra damage. It's going to do everything for her. It's going to be a great option, but most of us don't have that, and Prototype Amber is just going to be the move for you. All right, and before we get into some team comps with Kokomi here, I'll briefly go over the stats on my Kokomi. I have my Kokomi at level 90. She has 1400 attack, 37 elemental mastery. I would like to get that up a little bit more. And then 128% energy recharge. You really don't need that much. I regularly have her burst. So hitting this like 130-ish range is going to be really good, and a good place to not really care too much about energy recharge anymore. She also has a healing bonus of 75%. It's pretty huge, and a hydro damage bonus of 75%, which is pretty awesome as well. As for the talents, if you didn't notice earlier, they are all at level 8. I do need to get them up even more, but 8 is a great stopping place. Yeah, getting her to level 90 is also really good just because it increases her max HP so much. I have her at 33k right here. You can definitely get her to a higher point than this, but generally around the 30 to 35k means you're in an a-okay spot. All right, we're briefly going to talk about Kokomi's team comps and what you might want to use and pair with her. I'll give you guys a couple team comps and just general guidelines that you might want to be looking at while making your Kokomi team comps. The first one here is actually a pretty cool one. This is one that has surfaced lately called the Sukokomon team. And basically it uses all the girls that just throw like an equivalent of a Pokemon at the enemy, like a Gyoba or Fischl or the jellyfish or an Anemo hypostasis. Basically they're playing Pokemon, but the cool aspect about this team is the fact that you can get like Electro Charge, where you have Hydro and Electro above an enemy's head and it's applied to them simultaneously. And then you can have Gyoba, who gets Pyro applied to himself, and you can swirl that with Sucrose to cause a Vaporize, Overload, and Swirl reaction all at the same time, and it's pretty darn cool, and it's actually very effective. It's pretty darn strong. It's just a little hard to execute, but this team is still very fun, even if you're not that good at executing it. I've been having a good time myself. Another fantastic team is going to be any Electro Charge team, really. Kokomi pairs extremely well with the Raiden Shogun, also very well with Beidou. If you want Kokomi to be kind of your main DPS, you're gonna need units like Raiden Shogun, Beidou, or Fischl to continuously apply that Electro and Electro Charge to help you out as much as possible, because her damage is pretty solid, but it's not enough on her own. She definitely needs very strong supports like Beidou and whatnot, who love to be off the field and deal their damage anyway. Or Xiangling as well for the reverse vaporize is also very, very good. So you're going to want to pair with those kind of units if you want her to be the main DPS. But this team in particular is actually very good, especially now because you do get this increase of incoming healing, which doesn't help her normal damage, but it does increase the damage of her ocean-hued clam set there, or at least it increases how easy it is to hit the cap on your ocean-hued clam. So that's something to consider. There's also the fact that the Electro bonus here is really good for her because it helps her keep the uptime on her elemental burst pretty much indefinitely, and you don't even need somebody like Raiden Shogun to recharge her energy. You get a Fischl or even the Electro MC here or anything. If you want whoever really fits the bill here, Beidou is kind of a must though in this Electro Charge comp in my opinion. Kokomi is also fantastic in any freeze comp, really. I really do enjoy using Kokomi, Kazuo, and Aloy together for a type of freeze comp. That one's pretty fun. Ganyu, of course, is amazing for freeze comps. And other Hydro units like Mona or Xingqiu can also pair very well with her in a freeze comp. But since Kokomi is so consistent at applying Hydro, she is fantastic for those comps. You just might need an Anemo unit to help group them all in one location to make sure that you're keeping them all frozen. As for Vaporized teams, you can pretty much treat her just like Tartaglia with like Xiangling or something. Those reverse Vaporize are going to be fantastic. Also, characters like Toma don't really get in the way of her reverse Vaporize, so that's very nice as well. Sucrose is going to be very good for bunching them up and, you know, applying Hydro to everybody. And basically, she has a lot of good pairings. The nice thing about Kokomi being a healer and a damage dealer and a Hydro unit means she can fit in a ton of teams. You can kind of use her however you want, really. I'd say maybe the only places she doesn't really fit in are maybe dual Geo comps, and even then you could still sneak her in if you really wanted to. All right, we're done with all that talk, so it's time for a little bit of a showcase here, and I'm going to be using Xingqiu to try and get incoming healing there, as well as Rosaria for some physical shred, because I do have her at C6 in her elemental burst. Gives like a 20% physical shred, and then Raiden Shogun for the Electro, so hopefully we get some superconduct going, and maybe we can get past the threshold on the ocean-hued clam set here. I'm not going to be trying to delete the boss extra fast or anything, but I do want to see if we can get over that, and also just showcase how much damage this set actually does for you guys, and how good it is on Kokomi with her damage, as well as just, you know, the set in general dealing that extra damage. So of course we are going to bully the Pyro Regisvine here, just because, you know, I mean, everybody loves to, so why not? And that should be that. We'll go ahead and get that. See if we can get the superconductor going here, as well as her elemental burst. See if we can get over the cap here. And we hit 31k. And we also deleted it extra fast. I wasn't trying to delete it extra fast, but at least we got over the cap there. And as you can see, she does pretty good damage. I didn't have Xingqiu's ult going there. It was just Rosaria's ult and Kokomi's ult kind of going there. Let's show this off in a group setting. All right, we'll go ahead and show it off in the brand new domain here as well. See if we can get a Rosaria's Q real quick. And we'll get Kokomi's ult. There we go. Go ahead and get those going. Get this going. And you'll see that I'm just going to deal a bunch of damage to these guys. So that was a 32k there. So yeah, if you get the Fizz Shred, it is very, very easy to go ahead and get over that threshold of like 30k. And you see, you don't even need to really worry about it though, because you're just intermittently going to be dealing these big damage numbers anyway. Even if you're not playing your Kokomi entirely properly, like I do a lot, you're going to be fine. You see, we have our elemental burst back. That's mostly because of Xingqiu, because Xingqiu does provide a lot to her. But yeah, you see we did a 29k there. It's not that hard to get over that threshold, really. As long as you have the right team comps, you'll be a-okay. All right, that's gonna be it for the video. I hope you guys enjoyed. The ocean-hued clam set is super good on Kokomi, and it made a character that I already enjoy a ton, a lot more enjoyable. I really like the way they designed this piece and kit, and I'm very excited to continue using Kokomi, as she's one of my favorite just like aesthetic characters, and she's going to continue to be on a lot of my teams. But that's going to be it for the video. If you guys enjoyed, I hope you consider subscribing, because it helps me out a ton. But other than that, I hope you guys have a fantastic rest of your day. My name is Blossums, and I'll catch you in the next one. Peace.